Group 3.
Our presentation is going to be on religion and the influences of Darwin's theory in the time in which Thomas Hardy was writing. That was during the latter half of the 19th century.
Okay, geology. Geologists discovered that the Earth is actually older than what people believed, and then people didn't like this if they took the Bible seriously and they had a religion. And then geologists didn't intend for this to be an attack on religion, and they didn't want people to not believe in religion. They observed from nature through the conclusion that they drew led to questions about religious beliefs.
Excellent.
Charles Darwin. It's interesting and relevant that Darwin considered himself more of a geologist than a naturalist, even though he did publish the book Origin of Species. It's because geology is what started the ball rolling, as in it led people to question what they're told and go out and perform experiments or tests to prove or disprove any sort of ideas. Darwin wasn't alone in his ideas about evolution or the origin of species. Around the same time that he was getting ready to publish his book after having been out for 20 years, fellow scientist Alfred Wallace was also preparing his text on the same matter. The expansion of science and more rigorous pursuit of experimentation and making sure and not forming any sort of conclusion until you have conclusive proof threatens the religious order of things. Throughout Hardy's lifetime, the science advanced greatly, and a lot of the scientific discoveries that led to the creation of many of the technologies we have now were discovered during this time period.
Religion was always a big part in the time around Tess was there. So in the book it says that obviously that they were baptised and that they were always brought up around the Holy Scriptures. But when Darwin's theory came along, the religious leaders faced what was the argument was outside their knowledge, because the church was always meant to know all the answers and everything. And when they realised that they didn't have the answers, people moved away from the religion. So they started to not believe, and then they decided to change their minds on if they believed in religion or if they even had a religion. And Darwin's view of nature destroyed the important distinction between man and beast, because men were always, humans were always meant to be bigger and better than animals. And then when they were compared, that people felt quite bad because humans were always more important.
Summary. The scientists didn't set out to challenge religion. The ways that it became to challenge was by threatening human positions at the centre of the nature. The error was one of the major scientific discovery. Each discovery being through challenge to religion.
That's the end of our presentation. Do you have any questions?
Any questions on Charles Darwin and the theory of evolution that was happening around the time of Thomas Hardy? Oh, yep. We're going Lida first. Go on then.
You know how you said there was another person writing about evolution at the same time as Charles Darwin? What was their different views?
I'm not entirely sure of their different views because I haven't read either of the books, but I know they were discovering along the same sort of lines, along the religious order wasn't as it was what the religious leaders told them. It was more as in we happen to be here rather than we're meant to be here.
When you say religion, And you're talking about religion. Are you talking about Christianity?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was the predominant religion
Brilliant.
within the time period.
Okay. Lida?
What links can you make to Tess and the Devils? Tess and the Devils.
Say that again, sorry?
What's the link between Darwin's theory and Tess and the Devils?
Oh, because around that time, religion was so important, and like everyone believed in like God and everything. And then when Darwin's theory came along, it kind of like moved everyone's mind. Everyone changed their minds. And everyone believed other things. Like men, like came from like apes, everything, and everyone's mind changed.
So there was a big questioning of the order of things. So marriage, religion, everything came under this, and Hardy was... What was Hardy's beliefs, do you know?
Hardy, I think, was present at Charles Darwin's funeral because he agreed with, I think he was either agnostic or atheist, meaning he didn't believe in religion. So he was a big advocate for Darwin and those sorts of studies.
Do you think that comes across in the novel? You do? Why?
Because like a lot of things he says, because like the whole thing that happened to Tess, everything kind of like, because obviously if, say that you did believe in God, if God would do something like that, you would have to kind of question it.
Fantastic. Sujo, last question.
Was Tess religious, like in the book? Because did she die because the church wouldn't baptise her baby? And she told Angel, and Angel said to Mercy that there was no God, and she had a fit. She got really angry.
Was that a question or a statement?
I'm asking them.
What you're asking?
I'm asking, is that a link?
What was your question? Do you think Tess is religious?
Yeah.
Do you think the character, the fictional character made up by Thomas Hardy, was religious?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Why, Grace?
Because she
When she vomited.
I think she began to question it more towards the end of the book, because if she did strongly believe in it, by the end of the book she did something that a strong Christian
Would never do. And she thought it was right.
and she
Absolutely.
believed that it was right.
Absolutely. Round of applause.